Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's PF and on today's episode we're going to be covering a Glencadam. Now I'm covering this today because it was voted for on my Discord server. If you're a fan of Discord or if you're a fan of like whiskey chat rooms and whatnot, you might find a nice good home there, and there's a link in the description below if you want to join it. You're more than welcome. Today we've got this Glencadam. This is the Reserva PX. I actually got this bottle sent to me by Glencadam because I attended one of their tastings, their online tastings, and they sent me the full suite of these Reservas. This is Reserva PX, but they have Reserva for all different kinds of like wine finishes and cask finishes and sherry finishes and all this kind of stuff. And there was a full suite of 7 of them. Big tasting. And at the end of it, they asked us which ones were our favourite, and this one came out as a clear winner for me, which was a bit of a surprise because if you watch this channel, you'll know that typically speaking, I don't gravitate towards cherry cask finish, and I find PX to be very sweet indeed, although I have to say I've been coming round to the kind of mingling of PX and peat. Of course, this is not peated, but PX is becoming part of my my kind of preferred flavour profiles on my palate, which is news to me, let's say, and that's one thing I'll always impress on people, is never give up on a style of whiskey. Yeah, if you're into whiskey and you're into the exploration of whiskey, please do keep trying different versions of things that you thought you might not like, because there's definitely going to be things you're going to miss and things that you'll enjoy if you manage to get hold of it. So yeah, today we've got the PX version, and this is a Glencadam. It's unchill-filtered, it's natural coloured, it's 46%, all things we like. It's 40 quid, but we'll get into value a little bit later on after the tasting, as I always do. Glencadam is a kind of really highly regarded distillery, especially the age statement stuff. Obviously this is all no age statement, but we'll get into that again about it when we get into the value and things like that, because I know there's still some people out there that really hold on dear to those numbers on the front of bottles of whiskey, but I'm here to tell you over and over again that that is but a number and not necessarily indicative of quality in a whiskey. There's plenty of examples of whiskies like this without a number on that are ace and good value. This one here then is a Glencadam Spirit that's been aged in ex-bourbon barrels until they've decided that it's done in there, and then that's been married over this whole kind of like, it's small batch, but you know what small batch means. It could be anything between 2 barrels and a few thousand barrels, which, given the availability, this is probably on the upper end of that scale. That's all been married together, and then it's been aged in PX casks from the Andalusia region, if that makes any difference to you guys. But the important part is the PX part, and like we said earlier, this is natural colour, non-chill filtered, so this is all natural. What a beautiful colour, beautiful colour. I don't tend to talk about colour much on the channel, but when it states quite clearly natural colour on the bottle, I'm a big fan of that, and we can talk a little bit about it. So yeah, it's a finish, it's a PX finish rather than full maturation, but as you'll see from this, I think it had plenty of time in there, and it must have been pulled off at just about the right time. So yeah, let's get into the glass and see what we've got. Again, we'll talk about colour. This is a deep mahogany, which is fantastic. We all love to see a good colour on a whiskey. I don't tend to worry too much about it, but if the colour isn't there, if it's kind of straw-like but it tastes amazing, I'm all for it. But when it tastes amazing and it looks great, I'm all for that even more so. Let's get onto the nose then and see what we've got. Okay, immediately, this has got a huge fruity nose. It's fresh, it's fruity, it's got deep figs, deep dates. And when I say deep, I mean it's just really robust and right there. You don't have to dig around for this. It's all just sitting there waiting for you to smell. And oddly, I get some cherries on the back end on the nose, which I'm enjoying. I don't really like cherries the fruit, but I like cherries the flavour, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm all there for it. Let's try on the palate. Okay, as expected, huge fruity notes on the front end. Loads more of those kind of dates, those figs, but on the juicier end of it rather than the dried end of it. There's a big heap of cinnamon, which is interesting to me because I don't like cinnamon, but this is mingling really nicely in there. Here's where I think it really hits home for me. When I was trying to decide on my tasting notes for this and trying to understand why I liked it, the back end of this, it tastes like cherry cough sweets for some brand. There's all different kinds of brands out there, but if you can find a cherry cough sweet, then it's like that. It's crazy how much it tastes like that. It's almost like a synthetic-y cherry note to it, but that I really like. Now it can be really indicative about whether you like this or not, I think, because if you're into that sort of flavour profile, which like I am, then you're probably going to love this. The finish is medium long. It's quite fruity. Usually I talk about peppery spice, but there's not really any of that going on here. The cinnamon disappears off nice and early, and it leaves you with a nice fruity long finish that I'm really enjoying. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really enthusiastic about this one. It's been my favourite of this little range, and you can see I've enjoyed this bottle. I've had it for quite a while now, a couple of months, and it's taken me a while to get round to it, but I'd be very surprised if this lasts too much longer now. It's cheap enough, it's 40 quid, which is superb value, you know. Alright, yes, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you'd been getting 12-year-old single malts for that sort of price, but those days are long gone, and we have to sort of move on from that, unfortunately. You know, but do get to try this if you can. You know, I'm not saying jump out and buy a bottle if you don't want to, if you're not sure about it still. If you can manage to try a dram of it somewhere at a festival, or buy a sample of it online, Master of Malt and all that lot, I kind of implore you to, you know, or if not this, if you're not PX kind of fan normally, I mean, I'm not, and I enjoy this, but there are loads of different versions of it. On the tasting on that video, I was one of the few that picked this the best. Most people tend to gravitate towards the tawny port or the white port, which I didn't really vibe with. I didn't get on with that at all. But most people vibed that. So kind of check out that range. You know, I looked on Master of Malt today, and they've had a price drop. So this one's still 40 quid, unfortunately. It must be popular. But some of the other ones are going for like £37, which is pretty good value, I think. You know, yes, all right. Again, no age statement, but I've made my thoughts clear on that. I can't be any clearer about what I think about that. But it's yeah, there's definitely going to be something there for you in this range. And, you know, like I said, they're all 46%, natural coloured, non-chill filtered. Superb. I think I can't say any fairer than that. I'm enthusiastic about it. Hopefully you guys will be too. If you like GlenCadam, you're probably going to like it. Take a punt. That's all I'll say. Check it out. In any case, I'll see you again on more videos soon. Cheers.